Hi, you guys.
Hello.
I have everybody
Hi.
muted. See if you can unmute yourselves really quick. I want to make sure you guys can ask questions along the way. Are you able to unmute yourself? If you can't, say something in the chat and I'll see if I can.
Hello. Good
Hello,
morning.
hello.
Good
All
afternoon.
right. All right. Well, we're just going to dive right in. So this is being recorded for people who can't join us live. And hi, Clarabelle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us today. All
Thank
right,
you
I'm
for
going to
the
go back.
invite.
I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and we will dive into the idea of a brand kit. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. And first, welcome to, I think this is our third session of the Visibility Transformation Challenge. So if this is your first time jumping in, we've already had two formal sessions and one kickoff session. And we have done multiple things already during the challenge. And we started with goal alignment, which was aligning personal and business goals so that we can put ourselves out there in a super authentic way. And then we developed a business one-liner, which is just a short form elevator pitch for your business. So the problem you solve, how you solve it, and what life looks like for the customer that you work with. And then in the last session, we did a deep dive into creating our ideal customer personas. And the reason that we want to have a really good feel for ideal customer persona is because when we're running any kind of ads, when we're marketing, putting things out on social media, we want to be able to envision the exact person that's meant for, because it clarifies our communication and saves us money across the board. So those are the things that we have done already as part of this challenge. And I want to reinforce there is a Facebook group. So if you are not in the Facebook group, I'm just going to jump over to this tab really quick and show you. This is the Facebook group that we've got set up for the challenge. And this is where I am sharing all of the resources associated with the challenge. If you look up here, it's Visibility Transformation Challenge. And then if you come over here to Files, you can see all of the resources that we've shared to date, and everything that we do will be uploaded here so that you can come back and access it at any time. I also share these recordings here in the feed. Now, it does take a couple of days for my video guy, Lucas, to get the videos out there and posted for me. But once it's out there, I will let everybody know and tag everybody in the group that the replay is available. With the stuff that we've done already, what I want you to know is that if you've invested time and resources in creating these, you are already well ahead of most business owners across the country. Most people do not do this. And for the few who come to sessions like these and then they create this stuff, most will do it and then just let it sit and then they never utilize it. So we're trying to change that for you guys. So we're going to create all of these assets for your business, and then we're going to utilize them in our marketing in an ongoing way. I'm going to dive in because we've got a lot to cover, but we're going to build a brand kit that makes you money. So very few businesses come to us with brand kits that exist, but in my BNI group a couple of weeks ago, I asked people if they had a brand kit, and there were a couple of people that raised their hand. Most people believe that brand kits are just essentially guides on how to use your logo, your colors, and all of that stuff. And I put together the MBA definitions. I went to college and sat in a course on marketing. There's a good chance that you were taught that a brand kit is just a structured collection of visual messaging elements. Visual messaging elements are like your logo, the fonts that go with your brand, the color scheme that goes with your brand. And the purpose of having that is so that you maintain brand equity and consistency across all channels. And the highbrow is the differentiation in a competitive landscape. But that's all well and good, and you do need that. But what we're going to do is actually build something bigger and something that will make money for your company. And I'm calling it a brand influence kit. It's not just your logo, not just your colors, not just your fonts. It is all the stuff that makes up who you are as a business. I like to think of it as really a growth engine. And you think over, I don't know how old your business is, but mine's 26 years old. And over the decades, we have created a lot of stuff. That stuff is important and it's valuable, but it isn't valuable if you haven't assembled it in a single place where you can leverage it over and over again, improve on it. So that is what the brand influence kit is. It's not something that sits on a shelf. It's living and breathing and it works for your business every single day. We're going to go over the details of what should be in your brand influence kit. So that is the purpose of this. Now, I had a call about a week ago with a new client who reached out to us to do a logo design for him. And he had in advance sketched out some concepts for me. And so that's great. I love it when clients do that so we can see where their headspace is. But he was just way overthinking it. And I just in casual conversation, no offense was meant. I was just like, no one cares about your logo. No one cares. And he's, what? We care more about our logos than other people care about our logos. The only time someone cares about your logo, and I use the term care loosely, is if it's confusing or it's very amateurish. That's because they're like, okay, what's amateurish? It says, is this even a serious business? If it's confusing, they just don't know what you do. So they actually still don't care. They just keep going. We spend way too much time focused on logos, and like my web designers on the call, Amanda and Mark, know when we do websites for people, a lot of times they want their logos huge on the screen, and it's just a waste of space. You need your logo there for visual brand identity, but it is not the primary thing. There's so much more stuff that's important. So people that are going to win in business and win in 2025 and going forward are not the ones with the best logos. All right. It's people that have strong identity, a clear and bold message, and the most leverage of their assets. And that is what we're building over the course of this challenge. You might be just jumping in on this particular call because the brand kit was of interest to you, but this is literally a 52-week challenge that we are doing with business owners to start building brand assets. So we're going beyond the brand kit here. So I just want you to know that this is a whole different and better and bigger concept. So at a super high level, and I want you to write these down. Your brand kit is your identity. You want to include in your brand kit. So we're going beyond the logo, beyond the fonts, beyond the colors and stuff. Your mission, your vision, your values, core belief system that positions you to be unique in your marketplace. Now, this is super high level, and over the course of the challenge, over these 52 weeks in 2025, I'm giving you tools to build all this stuff. So if you don't have stuff that I'm mentioning right now, that's okay. We're going to be building this stuff over time. These are things that should be part of your brand kit. Your signatures. I call them sexy words and power phrases in your industry, not our sexy words. We're web designers and we have all kinds of jargon and lingo in our industry, but sexy words to our customers. I might say, we build great CTAs. That is not sexy to clients. Sexy words are, we get you more leads. It's the same thing. It's call to action, CTA, but leads and money are the sexy words to our customers. So it's the shift, okay? So sexy words, power phrases, your offers, your promises, your guarantees, and your positioning statement. Also, your proof and credibility. Now, I want you to think about how all this stuff is floating all over the internet right now. So you've got testimonials on Google, you might have testimonials on your social channels, You might have emails from customers with testimonials. If you're really out there, you might have videos that customers did and sent them to you, and they're scattered all over the place. Your brand influence kit brings them all into one place. Also, case studies that you've put together about your business, big name collaborations that you have done. My little marketing company is in Missouri. And yeah, we've been around for 26 years and we've worked with clients all over the country. But we actually have a ton of McDonald's franchise owners that are our customers. Having the big name collaboration is important, but it's only important if I leverage it and utilize it in my marketing. So it just brings credibility. But having all that stuff in one place as part of your brand influence kit is what we're going to be doing. Also, your assets, your unique frameworks, your intellectual property, your proprietary processes. If you've written a book or are writing a book, if you've done white papers and diagrams, a perfect example is this exact presentation. So this presentation I've put together, this is intellectual property and it's an asset in my business. And I've built a framework called the Brand Influence Kit. That is intellectual property that's unique to us. So that would go into your Brand Influence Kit as part of your IP or intellectual property. Intellectual property is an asset in your business. They say that service businesses often lack tangible assets because we build stuff for people, we build websites, we make social media posts, we write content for people, but we actually do have assets, hard assets as service businesses, and that is your intellectual property, the things that you create that are unique to you, your unique ideas, your unique approaches, but they are only assets if you've documented them and you have them housed in some place, which would be your brand influence kit. Also, your vibe. What are the words that you use when you're talking about your company? What are the words that you need to avoid when talking about your company? Why does this matter? Why should it be in your brand influence kit? If you're working with media agencies and they're writing ads or they're doing social media for you or all this stuff, they need to know this stuff. They can't pull it out of your head. This is the kind of stuff that needs to be documented. And also, how do you want to make people feel at every interaction across the customer journey? How you want to make people feel is usually done by words and images that we use in our marketing, how we engage with them on a consistent basis. And your team can't read your mind, your audience, your customers can't read your mind. The stuff needs to be documented so everybody knows the vibe of your brand. And then your media machine, your expertise, any blogs, videos, courses, podcasts, social content, social templates, tools that you use, contacts, vendor contacts, and other resources. These are all things that should be included in your brand influence kit. And then your visual identity. So you can see this is, if I asked most people what a brand kit is, this is what they would say. It's your visual identity. But just think about all the stuff that I just talked about. It is so much more than just your visual identity. It has to be included, yes. Should be included, absolutely. But all this other stuff needs to be included. So what we're going to do is walk through, and I'm going to give you a structure for creating your brand influence kit. And we're going to be very methodical about it. In your notes, just to give you where we're going with this, we're going to build a directory structure. First thing I want you to do, and if you're on your computer, go ahead and do it right now. If you're not, just write it down so you can come back to it. If you're on your computer, though, create a folder in your Google Drive or your Dropbox or somewhere where you can access it and your team can access it. And I want you to name the folder Brand Influence Kit. And then what we're going to do is under that folder, we're going to create a bunch of subdirectories. Now, you most likely do not have all the stuff that I'm going to tell you to create a folder for. But ultimately, then what this does is it becomes your guide to creating the stuff that's going to be important for your brand influence kit. The idea is Once you have the brand influence kit complete, it becomes full of memorable stuff that clearly shows that your brand is a force that actually moves people to take action. One of the best definitions of brand that I have ever heard actually came from Alex Hormozy. And he says the whole concept of brand is just to influence action in people. If you think about the origin or where the word came from, branding, cattle ranch, right? Just if you happen to come across a steer on the street back in the days or on the dirt road or whatever, and it didn't have a brand on it, it would just be a steer in the street and you wouldn't know what to do with it. You might, I don't know if you capture a steer, but you might rope it and take it. But if it had a brand, you might return it to the owner. So the brand compelled you to take some kind of action. If you didn't like the ranch owner and you saw the brand, you might take the steer. Anyway, this example is ridiculous, but it's true. People branded cattle so that it would compel people to take action. If the steer got loose or got stolen, they would know where to return it to. So the idea of brand is to compel people to take action and hopefully toward your brand. The idea of having the brand influence kit also makes you more marketable because you've compiled all of your assets and resources and testimonials that position you as an expert in your field and the things that make you unique because of your approaches and your proprietary frameworks. And then, of course, it's monetizable because things like this presentation for me, for example, this framework for me, for example, I can turn this into a course and sell it. These are monetizable things that are part of your brand influence kit that are unique to your business and help you make money as a business owner. Now, I'm going to just reinforce as we go through here, I cannot see you as I'm doing this. I can't see any of you because my screen's up. So just say something if you have a question. Feel free to interrupt me, okay? All right. So we've got our top level brand influence kit folder. The first subdirectory that I want you to create is a folder called messaging. And in the messaging folder, this is going to be one of the more robust folders in your brand influence kit. You are going to create another folder under messaging for your ideal customer personas. In the last session, we built an in-depth ideal customer persona. So if you've been with us since the beginning, you already have something to populate this folder with. And we also talked about the idea that if you have multiple products, you might have multiple customer personas. So you want to make sure that you are capturing them, documenting them, and putting them in here. You also want to have a folder for your offers and your packages. So what are you selling? So for us, as an example, we have performance marketing program. And we have been ironing it out. We've been massaging the pricing and figuring out what works. So we've gotten that in place. And now that needs to go into our offers and packages folder. Your guarantees and your promises. Having these documented and in writing and in your brand influence kit is important. It's important because you need your entire team to know about it. But also, if you have people who are doing your marketing for you, you want to be able to share this brand influence kit so that they have all of this information and can leverage it on your behalf. Again, and I'm speaking as an agency owner, we cannot read your mind. If I had a client come to me with this brand influence kit, it would be a dream come true. We would know the brand so well and we could do such a better job for them because all of this stuff is available to us to use and leverage to promote their businesses. The next one is your brand story. Now, a lot of people everybody's got a story behind the start of their business, but very few people actually document it. Like, why did you get into the business that you're in? Why is it important to you? Why does it matter to you? It's really important not only for your team to know this, but it's also important for your prospective customers to know this. People love stories. So one of the things that we're going to do during this year is we're going to talk about how to formulate your story. Your story exists, but I have a model that I'm going to share in the not too distant future on how to craft the story in a way that you can leverage your story for marketing in your business. Then your core messaging and positioning. So this would be like your mission statements, your taglines, your key brand phrases. Also, you want to have a folder for things to avoid at all costs. So things over the years, we have all screwed up and learned lessons. Things have happened. If you document those things and keep them in a folder, it makes it less likely that your team will repeat those lessons. You can also leverage lessons as story in future messaging. Sometimes when we screw up, we don't want to talk about it too soon, but over the years, the blow gets a little softer. And it's like, okay, we learned that lesson the hard way. I'm going to share the story. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake that I made. So start cataloging those lessons that you learned. Also, your FAQ responses. Every day we get bombarded with questions. Sometimes it's the same question over and over and over again. If we have those documented somewhere and continue to grow those, a few things happen. Your team has all of those answers. And then you also have a host of things that you can write about. You can, hold on, I just want to check and make sure it's not somebody trying to get in the room. Okay, I don't think so. All right. But those become blog topics. You can leverage them, the FAQs on your website. You can do YouTube videos on your FAQs. So again, these are all assets that help your brand progress and make you money. And then your social proof. So key testimonials and before and after transformations. Now, later, I'm going to show you another folder that we're going to create is called proof, and there's going to be testimonials in there. So there's going to be two separate folders. The proof folder coming down the pipe here has all of your testimonials. On your messaging, the social proof messaging are the ones that we're absolutely going to leverage, like huge transformations that companies have made, significant savings that companies have made, any big transformation that you want to use from a marketing standpoint. So that's what we're talking about here. Any questions so far? If there are, just speak up and I will stop. Okay. Number 3. The next folder we want to create is called Intellectual Property and Authority Content. And then in that, we want to have subdirectories for signature frameworks and methods. So the topic that we're talking about is the signature framework from MSW. So I would have this in that folder for me. Any books, white papers, case studies. The third one is lead magnets and free resources. So we want to collect those and compile them and keep them in one place. And then scripts and proven sales pitches that have worked. I have an approach where I do strategy calls for business owners. And those strategy call recordings become fantastic leverage points for training team. So if I have all my strategy calls housed in one place, team can go back and watch strategy calls and see how I progress through the conversation and then close the sale. What is that in your business? And then educational presentations and webinars. As an example, my team, we're in a lot of BNI groups and we have to do presentations in those BNI meetings at least once a year, sometimes twice, a folder where all those presentations go. I go around and speak at different events and conferences, and all my presentations are in a presentations folder. This is all part of that brand kit. The next one is proof. So this is the folder that I referenced before. All of your testimonials, like all of them. And we want to get screen grabs. And if you can at all, get pictures of the person who gave the testimonial, because attaching a face to a testimonial is way more powerful than just the words. So I recommend going to your Google reviews and doing screen grabs of every one of them and having those as images. In addition to having the text, yes, but the images are great because People then know that you didn't make it up or expand on it, or it just looks more authentic. So screen grabs of all your testimonials, awards and accolades. We have received awards from going way back into the early 2000s. And I have all of the awards in a folder over the years because you're building up that social proof over decades. And it's easy to let that stuff trickle off and be forgotten, but you want to accumulate that stuff. Like, this is proof. It's proof that you serve people. It's proof that you do what you say. It's proof that you garner results for people. The proof comes in testimonials, awards, and accolades. If you're mentioned in the press, having a folder for articles, podcast interviews, all the things that you do online and in the press is important. Additionally, press releases, PR statements, and then recordings of you if you're out talking. Let's just say you do a presentation. If you do a presentation at your BNI group, something simple like that. Or if you do a presentation on stage or a workshop, recordings of those would all go here. And then another folder, I call it the oops folder, bad things that happened and what you did about them when they happened. Sometimes we don't get the 5-star testimonial. Sometimes we get a 1 or 2-star. It happens. And what caused it? Document it. What caused it? What'd you do about it? Even if it wasn't your fault, okay? Your perception is it wasn't your fault. Still, document it and put it in there. Your team can learn from it. You learn from it as you're documenting it, and it becomes part of your brand influence kit. The next one is your visual identity assets. So this is the one that everybody thinks of with brand kit, like I said. So your logo. So you want to make sure that you have multiple sizes and versions of your logo. So if someone designed a logo for you and it is just a small digital file and it's not what they call a vector file, you would never be able to utilize that logo on a billboard. If you wanted to have a billboard, you need to have a vector format so it scales like really big. And then you need to have web formats so they're small, transparent backgrounds so you can put it on like a white background or a black background or different colors. So make sure that all of your logos and all the different versions are available in one folder. You also want to have your brand colors and fonts documented and those font files. As an example, in MSW Interactive Designs, we have a couple of fonts. Oswald is our main logo font, and then we have a script font underneath with our tagline that says, "We put the web to work for you." The font is called Born Ready. It is not a standard font, and hardly anybody has that font. So we need to have that font file available so that if we're getting business cards printed, if we're getting signs made, anything like that, that font file needs to be available to those people because they can't replicate it without the font file. If you can imagine, if you've ever done this before, and I have done it in the past, you have all these assets scattered all over the place, and then you spend a long time trying to assemble them for a project or for a printer that you need to have shirts done, as an example. If you just have all of this in your brand influence kit, then you can just share the folder and it's good to go, just like that. The next one is branded templates. So your templates include like things that you're going to use for your social media graphics, your headers, like on your YouTube channel, on your Facebook page, your Instagram account. So all of these branded templates, your PowerPoint slides. So we're in 4 BNI groups. And so if I present, I don't want the slides to look super different from a branding standpoint than if Cheryl presents at her meetings. We want to make sure that we have the templates all in one place. And then headshots and company photo shoot images, you want to make sure that those things are all compiled in here as well. And then your brand guidelines, so rules for the use. Like, you don't want to have your logo with the text like crammed up around it. So how much space and white space. So these are things that are in traditional brand kits. So if you got a brand kit from McDonald's, which I happen to have because we do work with McDonald's, that's the kind of stuff that they outline. Spacing around logo, font sizes that you can use. So details of how to leverage and how you can use these assets. The next one is your content library. So again, this is a subfolder under your main brand influence kit folder. So your content library. So your social media posts. Now, if you do a ton of social media, I'm not saying you have to have every post in here. However, if you have posts that are super high performing, you want to capture that, copy it, put it in a folder. Captions, hashtags, things like that that have worked really well. Don't lose that information. Capture it and put it here so that you can leverage that information over and over again and well into the future. Same thing with ad copy and headlines that you've used. As an example, the Business Journal at the Lake of the Ozarks doesn't exist anymore, but when it did, it came out once a month, and then we would run an ad in there, and I would change the Basset Hound that's in the logo for us. I would change the Basset Hound every single month with a different kind of hat around either the type of message that we had running that month or the season. I got more comments from people just out in the community about changing the hat on the Basset Hound. That was something that really worked well. It got people's attention. So they didn't get ad fatigue saying the same ad over and over again. They'd always see the Basset Hound with a different hat on. And so that's something you want to capture, because we could try that again in the future because people noticed it. Now, if I didn't document that, no one on my team today or 3 years from now would know that we even ever tried it and what the results were. So hopefully that makes sense. We want to capture these things that generate comment and interest from our prospective clients. And then same with email marketing sequences. If you want to capture them all for sure, but if you have some that have really done super well for you, high open rates, you want to capture those and put those here. Blog articles and SEO content. Now, you might be thinking, like with your email marketing sequences and your blog articles, well, they're sitting in MailChimp, or they're sitting in my CRM, or they're sitting on my blog and my website. Why should I put them here? I'm going to tell you why you should put them here. As an example, we have a client, Jeff Kozatek, and I don't think he'd mind me sharing this story. So we have helped him transition to our new Grow 360 CRM. He has this thing called the Mindset Motivation Club, where he sends out 3 emails a week, and he has for a few years now. So it is 52 weeks in a year, 3 emails a week, and then he recycles them every year. So it's the habits. It's a 52 habits. And he only had them in MailChimp. So we had to, one by one, take them out of MailChimp and then put them into Grow 360. Whereas had he had all of these emails in a document, it would be so much easier to make that transition. So that's one of the reasons that you want to have that stuff offline and not sitting on a third-party platform only. Okay, so we want to make sure we have that stuff offline and available to us because we own it. It's an asset in our business. Video and podcast assets. I record all of these and I save the videos. Yes, we repurpose them. I put them on YouTube, and I also put them in the Facebook group so that you can watch the replays. But with having the videos, we can also make shorts. So we can take them into things like Opus Clips or an app called Munch, pull them in and generate small clips of, if you're scrolling on Reels or things like that, just short clips that have a nugget that you can utilize. So it's an asset in your business that you can leverage in multiple ways. If you have the videos, you can take the videos and generate transcripts. Then you can turn the transcripts into blogs and social posts and newsletters. So having all these assets in one place enables you to quickly and efficiently repurpose the content. And then ideas and inspirations. So this is one of my favorite things. I might see something cool that a competitor's doing, or that another company in a whole different industry is doing that I might be able to twist and implement in my company. I don't necessarily have time to do it at that moment, but I am crazy about taking screen grabs of things that are really good that I see, things that stop my scroll, or if you've been in a car with me, chances are I've taken a picture of something that I've driven by or that you've driven by. If you were trying things that are cool, capture them so that I've got this whole entire bank of ideas and inspirations. And then this is where you'd want to put them. So if you're ever stuck, you just come here and look, and you can find all kinds of really cool stuff to do and implement in your business. Next one, clients and community engagement. So another subfolder. So your customer journey map. What does that look like? Have you mapped out your entire customer journey? It should be in this folder. For us, the customer journey could start with either seeing us on social media, seeing an ad, seeing a presentation. There's many entry points. And then what happens? We draw them in to request information, and then they get on a call. They get on a call with either Cheryl or me or Amanda or Mark or somebody on my team. And then what happens after that? And then what happens after that? And then what happens after that? You map out that whole journey and what those touch points are, and then where the friction points are, so that you can mitigate where you have predictable friction. As an example with us, we have predictable friction from the time the person says, yes, let's go, they get the contract, they pay the money. And in our industry, there's just a natural delay of getting information. There's a natural delay of building the website. There's a natural delay of people waiting on the search engine algorithm to pick it up and start ranking their websites. There's a natural delay of getting all the assets we need to start a social media campaign. We know there's a delay. It's an unavoidable delay, but it does create friction for the client, because they're like, I paid money, and so where is this stuff? What can we do during that delay? We can over communicate. We can share resources. We can say, okay, here's what we're doing next. Here's what we're doing next, so that they're not guessing and questioning their decision. What is that in your business, right? What are the natural and predictable friction points that you can help mitigate? That should be in here. Your customer gratitude plan. Do you have a customer gratitude plan? We should have one. If not, we're going to build one later on in our 52-week thing. But all the stuff should be in here. So we have a few things that we do. We have a relationship with Candytown USA. We bring new performance program clients on, and we send them a great big candy basket, and we've got a process for that. And we've got send out cards. I utilize send out cards, and I have a calendar reminder every single morning to send at least one client just a card saying, just thinking of you, hope your day's amazing, or thanks for everything you do for supporting businesses. Small business drives the economy. You rock, cheering them on. So what is your customer gratitude plan? Case studies and client results. So if you have clients where you've just knocked it out of the park, document those results so that you can come back and leverage those in your marketing and in future conversations, proposals, whatever it is that you're pitching. Having all of that data at hand, not only for you, but for your team, is important, and it will save a lot of time, and you have that corporate memory documented. Your referral and loyalty programs, if you have those, should be documented here. And then your your community building strategies. If you have a Facebook group, as an example, we have a Facebook group for the Visibility Transformation Challenge. What are the strategies? What are the prompts? What are we doing to engage and grow that community? That would be in here. And then your event and webinar playbooks. This is a webinar. This is a training. I've got templates for my presentations and how we run them and how we open them. And so this would go in there. So your client and community engagement is another folder. And then number 8, the last one, AI and automation tools. Of course, this is new, right? Because AI is pretty new, but what are you doing with AI in your company? It should be documented here. So we have a custom GPT. Actually, we have several of them. And so what are some prompts that you use? For all of our performance marketing program clients, we build custom GPTs for my team. And we take the onboarding call with the client and any other resources over our relationship with the client, and we build a custom GPT just for that client. It's not built differently every time. There's actually steps. So Kathy builds my custom GPTs when new clients come on, and we have steps that she follows to train those custom GPTs from the onset. So that kind of stuff is documented here. Any kind of chatbots or automation scripts that you build should be here. Email and sales funnel automations should be documented here. And then any AI-powered content creation guidelines that you have for your company. AI is going to be more and more prevalent. We all know this. So you should start documenting processes that you use. Now, this is living, which AI, all tech changes fast. These are living and breathing documents. So one thing that's not on here that should probably be added is an archive folder. So things that are no longer relevant, I wouldn't delete them. I would just archive them and then update your new processes and the new stuff that you're doing with AI and with your automations. So that is action number 8. And then the last one, now that you've got the outline, is that you start populating it. So chances are, I am 99.9% sure you do not have all this stuff, but this is all the stuff that comprises the asset that you're going to build in your brand influence kit. So it becomes a roadmap for creating your kit for your company. I have got for you a file. It is in the Facebook group. I created it here. It is called the Brand Influence Kit Directory Structure. And let me just, I think I can show it to you here. It'll be a little easier. I'll give it 1 second to open. If you go to the Facebook group and download it, everything that was on those slides is in this document. So you can start creating the directory structure on your computer. So the main folder, all the messaging and the subdirectories. And again, this is just to get you started. You might modify this, of course, to fit your own business, but I would encourage you to go ahead and create the folder, even if you don't have the stuff to put in it yet, because it will serve as a tickle in your brain that, okay, we should probably put this on the agenda to create, or go find it. You might have had it at one point and it's sitting in some other folder, some other file somewhere, and bring it over here all under this one brand influence kit folder. So you can see the entire directory structure that I outlined, and you just move the contents over here. And I really encourage you to have it under one main folder, your brand influence kit. That's what makes it living and breathing. Things are not all over the place because your team and you have to come to this single folder and see all of this stuff every time you're accessing one of these assets in your business. So it's just a trigger for your brain that these things exist and I should keep putting this stuff together. I guarantee you, when you, in the future, if you decide to sell your business, hand off your business to someone on your team, or whatever it is you're going to do with your exit plan, if you have this in place with all of this stuff under one roof, it is truly an asset in your business, and most businesses do not have this. I'm going to say I wish Steve Denny was on this call today. I'm sure he'll watch the review, so I'm going to give a shout out because I know he would be doing this because it is an asset. It's an absolute huge asset, especially for service businesses that don't have a lot of physical assets necessarily, like buildings and equipment and things like that. So spend some time. We meet again a week from, not next Wednesday, but next Friday. So these calls are always the first Wednesday of the month, the second Friday of the month. So the second Friday of the month, We'll talk about this in detail a little bit more, some of the specific things that we can start on, but we're going to build a custom GPT on our next call. And the custom GPT for your business can help you build some of these things right out of the gate. So that's the frame that we're going to come into that session with. We'll build the custom GPT, and then we're going to start working on massaging your mission, your vision, some of the customer journey map stuff. The custom GPT can really help whip this stuff out for you really quickly. All right. You guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. And I will see you a week from Friday.
Have a good one. Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.